Back with the Rel Chapters podcast, guys. Got one of my most favorite topics today, which is nerves. How to play in your games in any sports when you're nervous, or how to stop from being nervous from messing up your game and your performance. So, for me, this is very simple but very complicated. The simple thing is just how to think about it different. You look at your situation, your game, as scared to mess up. You're worried about what's going to happen if you play bad. You're worried about what people are going to think if you look stupid. You're worried about what your parents are going to say if you look stupid, if you play bad. Well, you got to understand that that's contradictory to what you're worried about in the first place. Because if you are worried, you are going to play bad, right? So let me say it again. If you're worried about playing bad, you are going to play bad. So what you should be worried about is being worried. You have to take being worried out of it. That is the simple answer. That's the simple thing of what to do, of what to change. Now, what's hard about that is that's easy to say, very, very hard to actually make the change. And so you need a lot of steps. You need a lot of reps, essentially, of thinking this way and reminding yourself of this thing. And before you go to sleep type things, when you're by yourself and you're left to your thoughts, this is when you really got to plant this in your mind. And for me, like what I tell kids is like, look, you're already playing bad. Like you're already performing bad. So how could it get any worse? What do you really have to lose? At this point, you have nothing to lose. Now, if you're someone who's in a position who does have something to lose, and maybe you're not playing awful, but you're trying to like earn a scholarship and you're right on the brink and you can't do it, or make a team and you're right on the cusp, that's a little bit different, but it's the same concept. If you are worried, you are going to play bad, because when you're worried, you can't think. If you're naturally quick, but you're nervous, your body shuts down those natural instincts. It's you lose your ability to be naturally quick. If you have good touch, you lose your touch ability when you're nervous. Your body, I don't know the chemical science, but I know what happens. I know that your body shuts down. And usually when kids are nervous, their feet will get heavy. Their feet will stop moving. Or a kid that can handle the ball well, and when they get in drills, they handle the basketball well, they can handle it. But then you see them in a game scenario, their feet will be real different. They'll be heavier, they'll be clunkier, they won't be as bouncy, they won't physically pop up in the air as quick as they normally would. I'm not even talking about jumping. I'm talking about on a crossover and in and out. Their feet will be much choppier and have more rhythm to them when they're not nervous. When they're nervous, the feet get heavy and they just stop moving. They get out of rhythm. So that's a telltale sign. But the point is, those things will happen. Those physical things will shut down when your mental is worried. So you have to put it in a different perspective. You have to think, I really don't care. I don't care what happens. I don't care about the result. Although you do care, but you cannot care so much that you're going to allow yourself to be thinking about the result in the game. If the play is happening, I can't be thinking about whether I'm going to miss or make the shot. I can't be sitting on the wing like this, like, oh man, am I going to make it? Am I going to miss it? Am I going to airball? I can't think like that. I have to just go. Fuck it. I'm just shooting it. It might airball. It might be all net. And whatever happens, I'm going to have that same mindset on the next shot. Again, it's easier said than done. But this is the only recourse. This is the only way you can change this. Now, what you also need to be able to do is find your scenarios with parents, friends, real practices, scrimmages. You need things that are not a real game scenario, some type of practice or scrimmage, and you have to try to implement this stuff on the fly. I'll give you an example. Let's say you get nervous when you have to handle the basketball full court and people are pressuring you. Well, you need to do those exact things broken down in small drills where somebody can coach you on the spot, even if you got to coach yourself on the spot. So say you do the drill and immediately you kind of stop, turn, pick the ball up, and don't know what to do. Right there, you need someone to stop that moment, that play right there, and show you what you could have done better, show you what to do differently in that moment. and then make you do it again. And if you don't do it, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say like a kid will usually they'll turn and just start dribbling before they even look. Like they'll catch the ball, someone's all over them, their eyes will be down, and they'll just start running. They'll just start running to a direction. So the simplest thing to fix right there is look first. Like look which direction you should go with the ball. Okay, simple thing. So the play would need to be stopped as soon as that kid does it wrong, right? After it's explained that what I just said, hey, you at least have to look first. Hide the ball, turn your head, look first, then figure out which way to dribble. Okay, now go do it. When that person goes and does it, if they again don't do what you just told them to do, there has to be a punishment. 30 burpees, suicide in something seconds, something, push-ups. There needs to be a punishment for being nervous. Okay, there's nothing wrong with being nervous. Nervous just means you care. There's nothing wrong with being nervous. There's something wrong with you being so nervous that you can't follow directions, that you can't focus, that you can't be who you naturally are, right? So you need to punish for that. What that does is that makes the player worry more about the punishment than the result. It makes the player worry more about the punishment than the result. And that's what we need. Then you build muscle memory. By nature, that player is going to start to be worried about other things other than the result, you know? And the reason I like a punishment is because it's accountability. You're being held accountable. And at the root of all of this sports stuff, that's what this stuff should be about. Accountability, character, hard working, all that shit, all that intangible stuff. So it's not negative to put a punishment for lack of accountability. So you didn't hurt anybody. You didn't hurt their feelings. You shouldn't be discouraging them. None of that. Now, don't get me wrong. Some kids aren't going to take that very well. Some kids don't want to be held accountable, right? They're children, regardless to what it is, whether it's a sport or not. They don't want to be held accountable. So they're going to fight you on it. They're going to cry sometimes and throw a fit when they got to do the punishment because they keep messing up. That happens, but that's all part of it. We have to get through that stuff. I say this all the time. If a kid is a crier, like when things go wrong and they pout or they cry or they quit or whatever, if that happens in real games and they go to workouts and trainings and practices and you never see that come out, they never pout or cry or have that same bad attitude, that's a problem. That means they're not really training for the game, because in the game they do this. So if we're going to practice and we never get to that, then we're not preparing to change it. So a kid with a bad attitude, I got to figure out a way to make that bad attitude come out when we work, when we train, when we practice, because then I have to deal with the bad attitude in the practice scenario on the spot and learn how to fix it, learn how to get them to think about it different. But if we never get to it, we're never getting to the problem. So that's kind of a whole nother thing of how you have to run your training and practice stuff to make it real enough. But I'm just making a point that whatever happens in the game, we need to deal with those issues in practice. I can't just throw you in another game and say, now go do it. We need a segue. We need a lot of segues, really. And I like to look at it as, dry skill, work on the dry skill with no defense, no nothing, just learn how to physically move, do that first, then get some shadow defense in front of you to see what the read would look like and how and why you need to use the skills. That's the second thing. Then the third thing would be to do it live in a scrimmage or format or scrimmage or practice format, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, just to practice. Actually, hold on, that's another step. But where it's not real 5-on-5 yet, then do it in a real practice where it's 5-on-5 scenario, then the game. So it's 5 different steps. I view development in 5 different steps. Those are the 5 right there. And when you need to break like nerves, when you need to fix confidence issues, you got to go through all those 5 steps. I can't only do step 1 and 2 and say, okay, now go in your AAU game and do it. Be confident. We got to hit all of those 5 steps. And now every kid is different. Every player is different. Every person is different. We might need to do those 5 steps for 5 months before it gets through your head. Another player might need to do it 1 day before it gets through their head. 2 weeks. Everyone's different. We don't know until we get to it. You just got to jump in and learn as you go. Figure it out. And going back to your mindset, the first thing that has to be said is, hey, what are you going to lose? What are you really going to lose? And if you're worried about what other players think, like other kids, your peers. We have a big conversation to have, because you're going to struggle with this your entire life. If you give a fuck about what people think about you that much, you're in trouble for real anyway. So we have to address first that you can't be afraid to mess up. Sports are about messing up shit. Life is about messing up. The win is, did you learn from the mess up? And next time you have the same scenario that you messed up, are you able to correct it? If the same scenario keeps popping up and you just keep making the same mistake, okay, you got a real issue again. We got a deep issue at that point. But fuck it, man. Like, you just got to try. You have to just go out there and do it. Just shoot the shots. Shoot them. You may miss them. You may make them. If you miss, we'll figure out why you're missing and figure out what type of plan we can put together to make you make more often. Okay, right? But if you're never shooting them in the first place, there's nothing to say. There's nothing to coach. I can't give you anything. Your dad can't give you anything. You have to just do it. You have to just simply do it and not care about the result, not care about what people think. And that is truly the only thing you can do. It's the only thing you can do. And that's a mindset. So again, when we go to our training, we hit all 5 steps. If you are not in that mindset for all 5 steps, we can't get anywhere. We're not gonna improve your nerves. So going back to what I said at the beginning, it's okay to be nervous. Being nervous means you care. I was nervous every single basketball game I probably ever played. There were a lot of like summer league and like side league shit that I wasn't nervous for. But real games, there was never one game where I didn't have like the jitters in my stomach, up until the ball was tipped in the air. But as soon as the ball went up in the air, it all went away. I couldn't even remember thinking about being nervous. It never happened. Some people are not going to naturally have that, we would like to get there if you can, but some people are going to have to fight a lot harder than that. And they're going to have to go through the 5 steps that I just said. And they're going to have to really have the correct mindset and fight themselves to change that mindset all through the 5 steps. That's just the reality of it. But, you got to understand too, this is a really big piece. It's another mindset thing. The truth is, you are probably not going to be special. I myself am probably not going to be as special as I would hope to be as a basketball entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur in general, as a basketball coach. I'm probably not going to be as special as I want to be, or as special as I even think I am. So that is not a knock. You're probably not going to be a Division I player. You're probably not going to be a pro. You're probably not going to be the best scorer on your high school team. You're probably not. The odds say that you are not going to be. So that statement is not supposed to discourage you and say, oh, I might as well quit then. No, it's supposed to do the opposite. It's supposed to say, okay, watch this. Fuck you. Watch this. You said I can't. I'm going to show you that I can. And until you get to that mindset, you are never going to have the key ingredients in you to get over your nerves, to get over being nervous to where it's affecting your game negatively. You're not going to have that. You got to get to a point where you say, fuck it. I don't care how you feel or anybody else. I might score 0 and be the worst player on the floor today, but I'm going to damn sure try. I'm going to come out here and act like I'm the best player and think I'm the best player and try as hard as I can like I'm the best player. Good or bad or ugly. Now, if it's bad and we just continue to do that, you got a problem. You have to fix that. That means you got shit you got to work on. You can't be a fool. There's a fine line. But you have to have superior confidence and unconscious to what people think or care to go out there and say, watch, I got it. Watch me do it. Until you get there, you don't have what it takes to even get through those 5 steps with the correct mindset. You're going to just go through the 5 steps and you're just going to be working up a sweat. You're not really getting to anything. That's what this comes down to. And so you got to look at it as you're the underdog. The odds are against you. And you're here to upset people. You're here to cause an upset. You're here to do what people think you couldn't do. You got to get there. Most kids can't get there because they think they're good. That's the thing. They think they're good, so they always have pressure put on themselves to go out there and be great. It's like D1 or bust mentality. Like, oh, well, if I'm, it's embarrassing if I'm not going to be a Division I player. So I don't even want to, fuck this. I'm done with this, or I got, there's a clip posted online that makes me look less than the best player in the area. So I don't really want to get involved with this, or I got a problem with it. That's the problem. See, it's an ego thing a lot of the times. And if you check your ego at the door, you've probably heard teachers say that before. Check your ego at the door. That means stop thinking that you're something that you're not, or stop thinking you're the greatest thing. Stop thinking that it all has to go right for you, or you hurt your image. Fuck all of that, man. Let it go. You have to just go do what you can do with the mindset that you are the best. That's the thing. When you want to make sure that you post your clip and it looks a certain way and people post a certain comments on it, you're putting that outwardly. You're outwardly letting everyone know that it has to go right for you. You got to think about that internally. Let other people think whatever the fuck they want to think. But if you're worried about those things, you also don't have what it takes inside of you to get rid of nerves. You got to be able to look at yourself as the underdog, not care about what people think, and stop thinking that it's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to be a Division I player. You're not supposed to be the most popular player in your area. You're not supposed to be any of that. Stop thinking that. If you think that way, you're going to be devastated when reality hits you in the face and it shows you that you're not. And then your confidence is going to shoot straight to the ground and it never comes back up. I've been doing it 11 years. I've seen it time and time and time again with kid after kid after kid. So you have to be able to really look at yourself in the mirror and know who you are and what you are not, and then blindly go after it. Blindly go figure out how you're going to meet that end result. There's no magic to it. It just takes a lot of steps. But this is the key to you finally getting over your nervous issues. This is it. If you guys haven't checked out all of our playlists on YouTube, there's so much free coaching on there, from every skill to concept to stuff like this, mindset. Go check out the YouTube playlist. Ton of stuff for you guys there. Leave us comments on stuff that you think is helpful or stuff that you need more context on. A lot of this shit is in certain context, right? So it could be elaborated on. So when you guys let us know when you need more context on things, we can make follow-up videos and hopefully give you more value to it. If you see this chat box down here, you see the chat box where you can leave a comment. There's a little $sign. If you guys want to hit that $sign and donate anything at all to the channel, we greatly appreciate it, so we can keep doing the channel and make it better at a higher level, bring on more guests, all of that stuff. And you guys know by now, all the like and subscribe stuff makes YouTube push the video out there. So if it's valuable to you, it may be valuable to others. So go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. And thanks to everybody who does support, all the Rel content. And either way, man, we help anybody. We're doing something. So thank you.